The conference room fell silent as the door opened, but the silence was different this time. Lieutenant Sarah Chun stepped inside wearing her crisp uniform, her shoulder boards gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The same men who had been laughing moments ago now stood at attention, their faces drained of color. Sarah's eyes swept across the room, pausing briefly on each face before settling on the man who had made the crude joke about female cadets just minutes earlier. She had heard every word through the thin walls. Fresh cadet, they had called her. Probably got lost looking for the mess hall, another had said. The laughter had stung, but Sarah had learned long ago that some battles required patience, not immediate confrontation. She had waited outside, counting her breaths, remembering why she was here. 10 years earlier, Sarah had been that fresh cadet, arriving at the academy with stars in her eyes and her father's dog tags around her neck. He had died in combat when she was 12, leaving behind letters that spoke of honor, duty, and the belief that his daughter could achieve anything. Her mother had worked 3 jobs to help pay for college, never once complaining, never once suggesting Sarah choose an easier path. Every step Sarah had taken since then carried the weight of their sacrifices. The academy had not been kind. Male cadets questioned her presence. Instructors gave her impossible tasks, waiting for her to fail. During one winter exercise, her entire squad had been ordered to carry a wounded soldier simulation up a mountain. When they struggled, the instructor had sneered that perhaps they should wait for the men to help. Sarah had hoisted the dummy onto her shoulders alone, climbing that mountain until her legs shook and her vision blurred. She had not stopped until she reached the summit. Years of deployments followed, each one teaching her that leadership was not about being the loudest voice in the room, but about being the steadiest presence in chaos. She had held dying soldiers in her arms, made decisions that saved lives and haunted her dreams, and earned the respect of those who fought beside her. When the promotion to commanding officer came, it was not a gift but a recognition of blood, sweat, and unwavering dedication. Now standing before these men, Sarah could have chosen anger. She could have reminded them of every regulation they had violated, every line they had crossed. Instead, she thought of her father's letters, of his words about leading with strength tempered by wisdom. She thought of her mother, who had shown her that true power lay in grace under pressure. "Gentlemen," she said quietly, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had earned every syllable. "I assume you were discussing today's mission briefing. Please be seated." The men exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering across their faces. They had expected fury, humiliation, perhaps even disciplinary action. This calm professionalism unsettled them more than any reprimand could have. Sarah moved to the head of the table, spreading out mission documents with practiced efficiency. "We have 48 hours to extract a civilian aid worker from hostile territory. Intelligence suggests enemy forces are closing in on her position. This operation requires precision, teamwork, and absolute trust in every member of this unit." She looked up, meeting each man's eyes directly. "I know some of you have concerns about my leadership. That is your right. But understand this, I did not arrive in this position by luck or favor. I earned it through every mission, every decision, every soldier I brought home safely. My record speaks for itself. The question is whether you are prepared to set aside your prejudices and focus on what matters, which is bringing that aid worker home alive." The room remained silent, but something had shifted. The man who had made the earlier joke cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I apologize for my earlier comments. They were inappropriate and unprofessional." Sarah nodded once, acknowledging his words without dwelling on them. "Noted. Now, let's focus on the mission. Captain Rodriguez, brief us on the terrain." As the meeting progressed, Sarah watched her team transform. They began asking sharp questions, offering strategic insights, falling into the rhythm of professionals united by purpose. She challenged their assumptions, praised their innovations, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, won their trust not through demands but through demonstrated competence and genuine respect for their expertise. When the briefing concluded, the same man who had apologized approached her privately. "Ma'am, for what it's worth, my father served under your father in Iraq. He used to say Lieutenant Chun was the best officer he ever knew. I should have known better than to judge his daughter by anything other than her own merit." Sarah felt her throat tighten. "Thank you, soldier." That means more than you know. As the team dispersed to prepare for the mission, Sarah stood alone in the empty conference room, her father's dog tags cool against her skin.